los sabecitos. What? Fist up today. Fist up today. Oh, fins up, baby. Miami, stand up. This is Fins Talk today. Let's go. Sun up over day. Game day on the brain. From the tailgate smoke to the hard count rain. Orange aqua on my back. Crowd shaking every seat. We talking ball, talking heat. Turn it up, feel that beat. Fins talk today. Fins talk today. Fins up all day from the 305. We ride that way. Bobby Fins talk. Fins Sammy on the way. Miami, vamos. It's Fins talk today. Hey, hey, hey. It's Fins talk today. Who you reppin'? Who you riding? Miami. Who you riding? Dolphins. We break it down, break it live. Every snap, every drop. Hey, Fins talk today. Fins up all day from the 305. We ride that wave. Fins talk. Fins Sammy on the way. Miami, vamos. It's Fins talk today. Hey, hey, hey. Fins talk today.
All right. Good evening, Dolphin fans. Welcome to Fins Talk today here on FTSN, powered by FTSN and Fins TV, sponsored by Caneswear. Bobby Finstar, joined by Fin Sammy. This is the flagship show of FTSN. Z. Oh, man. Sammy, what a week. What a week. Oh, man. Oh, what is this?
Yeah,
oh,
absolutely.
look. There it is. Oh, look. Hi, fellas.
The
How
champ
we
is
doing?
here.
The champ is here. Woo! Styling and
Indeed.
profiling. Limousine riding. Jet flying. Kiss stealing. Wheeling dealing. Son of a gun. Woo! Actually, SUV riding. Southwest
Mother
flying.
tree, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, man. But, man, excited to talk Dolphins with everyone here tonight as we get everybody coming in wherever you're watching from. We appreciate you. If you're watching post live, thank you for joining us. Lou already in the comments. Lou was awesome to sit with Lou and Ashley and talk some Dolphins and Canes.
That's awesome.
Appreciate them jumping in here and saying hello. Sammy, before we get into it, my man, how are you doing? How's your week been?
They're doing great. The weather here is beautiful. Right now it's 76 degrees. During the day, 81, 82 degrees. So, how's the weather where you are, Bobby? How's the weather?
We are literally frozen in. I was just talking with Lou and Ashley about that we've been stuck. Not want to say stuck, but stuck here for a week. The kids have been off. They just canceled school for tomorrow as well. So it's a whole week without school.
Wow.
And, we had a tree go down in our front yard. A lot of big branches from our bigger tree in the backyard came down. We lost roof basically in the backyard for it was an overhang where they used to park a car. We could park cars back there, but that got the snow and the ice just crashed through it. But other than that, we didn't lose power. We lost it maybe for maybe an hour and went back on, which was great. We were sleeping when it happened, but others not so lucky. Thousands of people up near Nashville and further north lost a lot of power. A couple of my coworkers were without power for like 4 days. I was talking to one, and she told me that that her and her boyfriend were in the house, and they like it was like 40 degrees inside their house. The lowest our temperature got was 67. But for me it's fine. Yeah, you got to put a coat on or whatever, but I'd rather sleep and live in that type of thing than too much hot. But I'm like, my goodness, 40 degrees. So it was crazy, but I'll tell you, it was gorgeous though. You go outside and you see the trees and it's all frozen, literally frozen. It's not snow, it was ice. I mean, my tree came down. I tried to see if I could kind of move it, and I couldn't. It was rock solid. So, thanks, bro. Thanks for bringing it up with your nice Puerto Rican Caribbean weather with our nice frozen.
It's beautiful.
Come on down. Yeah, come down to the Caribbean. I bought the ticket.
I'll send it yet. Oh,
there you go. But man, I'll tell you, I was, you had that going on. Plus, it was like dealing with the flu. I was, miserable. But got to see the press conference. We discussed that last week. did the show with Evan. So far, Coach Hafley's been on a few interviews. He's come out really great. Every interview I've listened to, I've come away with impressed. And I know it's like, it's just talk until we actually see what he's done. But so far, really carrying himself well. What you hear about him, he's been working on his staff. We're going to discuss that. We got a new hire right now. Breaking news. We're, a little before, an hour from our show. Dolphins hire, this guy's a guy who's been throwing a name out there for offensive coordinators, possible head coaches. He was a head coach, did not turn out well, but now is our quarterback coach, which is Nathaniel Hackett. We're going to talk about that. Yeah, I know. I want to say like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys so far can't have come in. Possibly we know who our D coordinator is. We're not too sure yet, but we think we have a good idea. So we'll get into that. But before we do, Sammy, you brought up a great point during the week when we were discussing about what we will discuss on the show. I kind of told you my idea, and you're like, well, I think we should also discuss this. And it's a popular term now used before we even hired Jeff Hafley. But now when you think about Ryan Dunnard and you think about now Hackett and, Sean Duggan's going to come in, and Sully and Hafley and Green Bay South because, wait, who's going to be our quarterback? Will it be Malik Willis? Where do you stand on Green Bay South? Do you actually think Miami is going to be Green Bay South? Should they be called Green Bay South?
It should be called San Francisco East because basically, if you think about it, there are a lot of 49ers stuff in there. Some of the guys have more experience on the 49ers tree than the Green Bay tree. Of course, you're gonna bring your guys. There's no way you're gonna go to the people you know. You're gonna go to your posse. You're gonna go to the clique. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right.
so you gotta go to your guys. So it's not surprising. Of course, you're gonna go to the guys you know. Actually, it's not bad because if you tell me we were taking people from the Patriots brass, that thing always failed everywhere that went other than the Patriots. The Patriot way, we're great in New England, but not necessarily everywhere else. So the San Francisco tree, the Shanahan tree, the Ron Wolf tree, the Mike Holmgren tree, that worked pretty well everywhere they went. So I'm not worried about the Green Bay South thing or the Miami Packers or whatever. I think if it works, if you implement it well by the right people, it's gonna work. And you had to go by what Hafley said and what Sullivan said about what they want to do, and you and I are both in agreement that basically everything that they say makes sense, and everything that they say so far, it will be a complete change from the things we done before. The problem is that you still have to draft well, you have to keep the players. It's Miami, it's completely different. But I have no problem with the Green Bay South or the Miami Packers, so to speak. So I think that tree has proven to work very well in the NFL, and I'm kind of excited. I told you before, this is the most trust in the process, if you know what I mean, that I've had ever since Jimmy Johnson, because I didn't want this Wanstead. I would have. Ironically, Jimmy Johnson had a chance to get Bill Belichick as his defensive coordinator when he had a chance, and that he didn't get the Bill Belichick, he got the Wanstead. They Wanstead end up, inherited that team. Who knows? Bill Belichick could have been the coach of the Dolphins, and who knows what the story would have been. Another parallel universe we talked so many times. But they Wanstead, I criticize a lot, but this is the last. Probably, I think I'm pretty sure that he's the last coach to win a playoff game for the Dolphins.
He was,
so,
yes.
He inherited a lot of the team that Jimmy Johnson had, but other than that, they once said this is the last one, but Jimmy Johnson is the first one. I believe that we did in the draft. He tried to erase the past. I didn't like that too much. And he liked to live in the present. I remember he took the pictures from the facility, everything from the facility on the Dolphins. So, awesome.
Yeah, so there's some breaking news right there. I had to research it, but
go with it.
Linebackers coach for Notre Dame, Al Washington, will be joining the Miami Dolphins. So again, talk about Packers South, but if you really look at the staff, which we will, it's pretty damn diverse. Again, Al Washington coming from Notre Dame, he's the linebackers coach. He's going to the Miami Dolphins as a linebacker coach, and I guess he worked with Coach Half at Boston College. So there you go. Also has worked with the Cincinnati Bearcats and Michigan and Ohio State and recently Notre Dame. He's a former defensive tackle. So there's some good breaking news there. Thank you, Ritter. Appreciate you doing that, man. Bring that to our attention. But go ahead, finish your points.
No, going to the coaching staff. The first year coaching staff is never the second year coaching staff. Usually by the second year, some of the guys work, some of the guys don't. And we might see some changes next year. So I kind of like what he's doing with the coaching staff. He's bringing the people he's familiar that he basically thinks that no decision is going to run, that he basically has some confidence in. He's bringing the positive, he's bringing the click. So, I kind of like that. I could not disagree with that. If changes need to be made, I'm pretty sure by the way he speaks about, he's a very smart man. He seems to be on top of things. So I'm confident that if it doesn't work, he's going to make the changes needed. I kind of like that about him.
So I want to bring two things in regards of Packers South, Green Bay South. Lou was, again, shout out to Lou and Ashley, the SoFlo Sports Show. If you guys haven't yet, go check out their channel. Go subscribe.
They're awesome.
I think they're at, which is criminal. I think I checked. It was like under 800 subs. They got to be way over. What these two do for the Dolphins fandom, for the community,
engaging,
the DCC. You guys are missing out on the content and everything they do. But we were talking about that, and Lou brought up Sean Mannion, right? Sean Mannion is now the OC in Philly. And so, it's not just Miami. You just bring up New England and bringing in all the New England hires, and how that hasn't worked. But it's not just Miami that's with Hafley and Sully bringing in a lot of Green Bay guys. It's the league. So the league is high on Green Bay. Everybody's like, oh, I don't want Hafley. Well, the Titans wanted Hafley. 6 other teams wanted to interview Hafley. They were trying to get him in. And then you listen to his press conference. You're like, holy, I get it. So, Ray Finkel in the house. Good to see you, my man. Just so you guys know, this show is my therapy. Well, thank you, sir. We appreciate you. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I blind you with the ring? I will be. You guys are going to hate me with this thing, but I'm going to be wearing it all the time. I'm wearing it in the DCC,
like a super villain.
Like,
think about it.
What's up, Coach Half? If he's there, I'll be like, oh, you want one of these? Oh, win one. No, but I'm just playing. And then excuse me, and what we were talking about brought it up on the
Ashley. You were talking about Ashley and you, and
No, I was gonna say was what you were talking about with trusting the process.
Basically the league is going Packers' way. Yes.
Yeah, and but with the Dolphins, after we all wanted it to go a certain way, right? We all wanted a certain head coach. Whether it was a rookie and an experienced, most of us wanted an experienced coach. I wanted an experienced coach, but the more and more, you start to research, you see, and you think about it, like, okay, rookie GM, let him get his coach. Then you see these guys talk, you see the guys, the way they interact with each other, the way they speak, how passionate they are about the roles, and then you kind of see their vision and the way they talk about their vision. You leave encouraged, and like you were just saying, it's the first time in a long time for you that you feel comfortable with trusting the process since Jimmy Johnson. That's how I feel. I mean, yeah, every time there's a new coach, a new whatever, you're like, oh, fresh start, but really hasn't, because the last 3 coaches, we had Chris Greer. Now you have a new GM, a new coach, and they're both on the same page. Everything they're saying, everything kind of like the writing on the wall, what their plan is for this football team. I'm not trying to be a homer. I'm usually consider myself a realist. I feel very confident and excited about what the future holds in for Miami. I'm not going to say it's all going to work out. I'm just saying that I'm excited and I'm cautiously optimistic, confident in what Miami could do. Talking about the coaching staff, Craig's in the house. He said, what do you guys think of the Hackett hire? We're going to talk about all of it. And then, of course, Al Washington is now the new linebacker. We think he's a linebackers coach coming out of Notre Dame. Al Washington just broke right now. So, but we don't have that on the graphic, but we do have these guys. And let's go ahead and pull this up here. So just get through it here. Bobby Slowick is your offensive coordinator for the Miami Dolphins. He was promoted. He was the passing game coordinator for Miami last season, working with Mike McDaniel. He was only for 1 year. Chris Tabor from Buffalo, special teams coach, comes over here for the same job. Of course, they fired McDermott. He leaves. He's now the special team coach here. Liddell Betts is now your running backs coach. No more Eric Studsville, who was here through McDaniel and Flores. Zach Yenser takes over as offensive line coach. Ryan Dunner joins Hafley in Miami. He's your DB coach. Another Buffalo coach, Jamil Adai. He's the QB, the cornerback secondary coach for Miami. And then broke about an hour ago, Nathaniel Hackett, now your quarterback coach. He takes over for Darrell Bevel. Sean Duggan, more than likely hasn't been released yet because I think Miami is waiting on Anthony Weaver if he gets hired by Arizona or the Raiders. More likely probably Arizona if it does happen. Raiders, I think, are going to go Kubiak. But if he doesn't, I think he may go to – unless the Giants already hired a defensive coordinator. I'm not sure. But I think the Giants – they did already? So, okay, well, I don't know what Anthony Weaver's going to do. But Sean Duggan more than likely will be our DC after Weaver gets a job. So, and then he added Al Washington. Sammy, you look at this staff. You're looking at it. I'm going to be honest. We see majority Packers on there with Duggan and Dunnard and Hackett. But so far, it's been pretty diverse. You add in Notre Dame's linebacker coach, Al Washington. I'm actually very intrigued with this coaching staff because it is about when you get a rookie coach, you go, man, how's the staff going to look? You know, you got a former head coach in there who failed as a head coach. So he knows, you know, hey, man, this is where you can mess up. He has experience around the league. He's been everywhere. He coached the defense, or he was a part of the defense in Green Bay. Even though he's an offensive coach, he did the defense last year, so that's a huge plus for me. I love the diversity of this coaching staff. The only one that I got a head scratch for, and I brought this up with Ashley and Lou on SoFlo Sports Show, was Bobby Slowick. But again, he's only been here for one season with Miami. He was the pass game coordinator here on the offensive side of the football. I think was the OC in Houston when they brought in CJ Stroud, had a good year there. The silver lining there, even though that was the one where I kind of like, man, Sean Mannion was there. I would have been okay with another OC. We talked about the guy, forgetting where he was from, but there was other guys there that we talked about for OC. They promote Bobby Slowick. Silver lining is he hasn't called plays. We're going to have a new play call guy. He'll be calling plays. What he did in Houston, was only here a year. He's not really a Mike McDaniel guy. And I guess you got to trust Jeff Hafley. What's your thoughts on this coaching staff right now? Which is the one that you scratch your head? Which is the one you're like, hey, I really love this hire, if you do love any of the hires?
First of all, it makes you wonder, right? Because there's some of those first sets that are gone. Stutzville was the running back coach, I think since 2017, 2019. He's been here a lot, not replaced by Betts. Bobby Slowick, last week when we talked about the coaching staff, we didn't talk too much about it. But I'll tell you what, when I heard that the Eagles were interested in Bobby Slowick, it raised my eye. Like, man, I would like to keep that guy. I would hate to lose him. It didn't come to my mind that he could be the offensive coordinator for Hafley. That I'll tell you what, I didn't think about that. But you know, I'm kind of satisfied. It's too early to tell. I'm not familiar to a lot of those guys. You know, I'm gonna hear, but you know, some guys have a lot of experience, you know, and when you have a chance to poach someone from the Bills, you know, that basically know the tendencies of the secondary, that's going to be interesting for the scout team. Now, I kind of like that. Like I said, it's a first year head coaching staff. You know, changes probably are going to be made after the first season because that usually happens. So it's going to be interesting. I thought that the fan base was gonna go nuts. I even tweeted to you, oh boy, here we go. Because when I said Nathaniel Hackett, I said the fan base is gonna go crazy about this because you know, here we go again, same old Dolphins. You know, they don't know what they're doing. I'm saying, oh, the masses are gonna go crazy. But so far, I seem, you know, I didn't see it as bad as a reaction as I expected so far. So that was the eye raising for me, not because I think he's a bad quarterback coach, because if you get a chance to be a head coach, you will be doing something right. So I'm not gonna take anything away from him, but that was the way that raised my eye, because you know these fans say it's very fickle sometimes. They see something like that and they go, oh boy, now we're gonna suck again, and you know it's too early to tell. I have a rather rough with my partner in chat about that because I thought I was taking a jab at it. But that's my point. You know, the fan base usually doesn't take we'll do things like that. But it's too early to tell. The coaching staff is not ready. It's not already defined. Slowick as the offensive coordinator, we have to wait and see. He is another disciplinarian. I heard once that Mike McDaniel basically brought Slowick because he has some kind of a temper. He's a tough guy. He's not someone you're gonna push around, and basically McDaniel did somewhere like that on offense last year. So, and that apparently was one of the reasons he wasn't in Houston anymore, because Stroud didn't like that. So it's gonna be interesting when you have a very young team, which we're probably gonna have this year, where you have a disciplinarian like that, and Hafley, his parents is a no bullshit kind of guy. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be so much different than Club Mike McDaniel, where we had so many years for the last, I don't know, 4 years. So relaxed. So I think they're gonna be a much more disciplined team, probably coming from the coach and coming from the coaching staff.
No, I think you're right on, and that's something that has been talked about, has been pushed, and even Sully has said from the general manager's spot that whatever happens from now to the start of the season and so forth, whatever happens, it's not personal, it's business. It's about the best for the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah,
and I think that goes in hand with the coaching staff, like you said. Maybe that's why he left Houston, because he was a little hard on CJ Stroud. Maybe he's harder on the guys, but maybe that's what Miami wants. They want guys who can handle the pressure, who can handle the toughness. They go into, again, they go into a New England, a Buffalo, and the Jets, Meadowlands, where it's cold, freezing ice, and they could play their best football, that they're physical. And if they don't, these guys are getting your face. They're going to tell you what's up. That's when I look at the staff. I see that these aren't guys who are gonna sing, whisper nice things in your ears. These are
Yes.
guys that are gonna scream your ear off, get in your face, and you better be man up, and play to the best of your ability. What's up, Eddie? See you there. Good to see Eddie up in there. Bring back McDaniel. Stop it. But again, when you hear Green Bay South, Packers South, what really would push that notion, when you think of Jeff Hafley, you think of Sully, you're like, well, Miami may need a quarterback. More than likely, Tua's gone. That's the report, that Tua's played his last down as the quarterback in Miami. That might mean that Evan will, be saying, you owe me an apology. I don't owe nothing. But we know it's coming because if Miami ends up moving on from Tua eventually. But if they do, even if they didn't, they're going to be looking for a quarterback. And, the majority of Dolphin fans in the league, actually, not just Dolphin fans, but the league, if you follow that along, obviously, or right away, link Miami to a certain free agent quarterback who's going to be a free agent, Malik Willis. So let's go pull that up at possible options at quarterback for Miami. Because I started thinking about it. I was like, man, it's not going to be Malik Willis. Malik Willis is probably going to command a pretty dollar. So it's like, we better look at other options. Obviously, Quinn Ewers is one, right? We know Quinn Ewers, Tua, more than likely not. But these are other options that have been thrown out there, other options that are probably achievable, reachable for Miami. Malik Willis, obviously the connection with Coach Half and Nathaniel Hackett now and company, obvious connection with Sully. So it makes sense. However, I think, Sammy, you and I are both agree, probably going to cost more than what Miami could offer. And if you listen to Sully, I think he kind of mentioned that without mentioning names, was like, Miami has to be a little smart with their money. I don't know how realistic Malik Willis would be. Let me ask you, out of all, anybody really, would you want Miami to go after Malik Willis? Are you one of those guys that are banging the table for Malik Willis to be the QB in Miami going into next season?
I'm not banging the table just because I don't think we can bang the table for him, because I remember he was very touted, as probably the first overall pick in the draft. 4 months before the draft, even 2 months before the draft, Malik Willis was considered probably the number one pick in the draft. 2 weeks before the draft, things were kind of changing, and that I think it was in the war room when the selection process was there and was not picked. So, if I'm not mistaken, he went in the third round to the Titans, and the Titans. It's hard to go to the Titans when you don't have an offensive kind of coaching staff. So, yeah, he didn't bother when he got to Green Bay. And Hafley says that he ran the scout team, so he has some familiarity with him. So if he and Sullivan really think that he's the guy, they know he can be the guy, I'm pretty sure they might find a way to do it. I don't know how they're gonna do it, but they with Steven Ross money and throwing money around and restructuring things, I would not put him bypass them. So if they really think that he's the guy, they're gonna make it. I go back to Joe Philbin. Everybody was insanity in Miami, Flynn in Miami. Joe Philbin said he's not the guy. He went, I think it was to Seattle or somewhere, and he didn't work out. So those guys know because they had that firsthand. They know. So I'm not ready to run the table. I think sometimes he's a small quarterback, and a small quarterback, as you already know, get hurt. The pounding is to where he likes to run. He's very agile, but we're gonna probably have the same problem. I remember that game. He has such a great game with the player game with the Packers, but he ran a lot. He got hurt a couple of times, so that made me kind of queasy. So I'm not gonna buy the table for him just because I don't think we're gonna be able to. And the fact that a smaller quarterback again, I would like someone to be probably much bigger. I said it before, 6'4", 6'3", 6'5", that can run. They can outlive the weather of the AFC, so to speak. So it's hard for me to buy the table for him, but on the ability of him to be the Dolphins quarterback, just on talent, I would love to have it for sure.
So I'm with you. I'm not going to be banging the table for Malik. Well, I like Malik Willis. Let me just say that first off. I love him coming out of the draft. His character. I mean, you going into Tennessee, it wasn't a good spot to be in. All the drama, whatever, with the coach and everything else, everything with the GM, it just wasn't going to work out. And I think, what happened in Green Bay was perfect for him, and maybe it could be like a Sam Darnold type of moment, or a Daniel Jones, where he jumps to another team. He's just as good and maybe it gets better. But because of what his contract demands may be, and because more than likely whoever we get could be a bridge guy, unless you're talking about maybe taking a flyer on someone like Anthony Richardson, who's on that rookie contract and he's still a raw prospect, and maybe Indianapolis is ready to move on because maybe they just want to extend Daniel Jones, and maybe you do take a flyer on Anthony Richardson, and probably be a cheaper option, honestly. Russell Wilson I put on there because obviously they got Jackson Dart. Russell Wilson might not cost a pretty penny. He's obviously a bridge guy. You're not expecting him to take over long term. This is not somebody I'm like, oh, I'd love Russell Wilson. But he is an option that's there. Honestly, the two guys, and probably one over the other, if you're talking about Young, that might do well, and because he's coming out, you're thinking about Shanahan's system, which Miami's kind of still running with Jeff Hafley. Maybe a perfect candidate for Miami, maybe not too expensive, would be Mac Jones. I think that's an interesting name that fans should be looking at as a possible option for Miami. If Miami does go free agent route, if they think, hey, we're getting rid of Tua, we got Quinn Ewers, yeah, we'll let him compete, but okay, let's get a veteran that we could sign maybe for a 2-year deal, who could be our bridge guy. Mac Jones could be that guy who's now familiar with that system. And you think about the success other guys have had, and the success he's had also in San Francisco. What's your thoughts on a Mac Jones possibly being that bridge quarterback for Miami?
I'm checking because I thought he signed a 2-year deal for the 49ers. If that's the case, he's still signing. We have to pray for Mike Jones. I have to double check on that because I kind of feel like he's still under contract for next year. So you want Mike Jones? I'm pretty sure we're gonna have to trade for him. I wanted Mike Jones for the Dolphins last year.
Yeah, I did too.
I did. That's the guy I wanted. Of course he preferred to go to San Francisco, so I would understand that. On Anthony Richardson, I would love to have Mike Jones. I've been fighting to, if we can make a trade for him, I will trade for him for sure. I would like to have Mike Jones as a bridge quarterback, someone to pair with Quinn Ewers. That would make a lot of sense for the Dolphins. Anthony Richardson, I will go to my partner from Fins TV, Steve Haddett. Steve Haddett is a Gator, and he says he would not touch that with a 50-foot pole. So I'm gonna take it for George Alvarado, our friend for the Faithful podcast. We believe that the Dolphins should find a way to make that trade, but I'm gonna go with Steve. I would not touch that. There's someone who's interesting because has a lot of arm. It will be kind of considered a project. Mr. Mayonnaise, Will Levis. I think that's the kind of guy that's raw. Didn't get a first chance. He beat us he beat us in the game that basically changed the franchise of the Dolphins. So that's the kind of flyer that I think he's probably out there. We might be able to. I'm pretty sure if he's a free agent or we have to trade for him. If he's still under contract with the Titans, I'm not sure, but he's the kind of a guy that I think that has so many raw tools. It will be kind of a project that will be interesting. Kirk Cousins as 38 is kind of, I always been a fan of Kirk Cousins, the way he behaves, he's such a pro, and I know for example, Big O doesn't believe in Kirk Cousins. I think Kirk Cousins is a much better quarterback than he's ever given credit to. Dualar, I told you before, if the guy runs a good 440, that guy's gonna skyrocket up the charts because that kind of physical tools, with that height, that kind of arm, if he can run, he's gonna go up the charts. Tyler Green's a lot. I heard people say you should not do like Duala, you should go with Tyler Green. That will make a lot of sense. So it's complicated because I think right now the front runner is yours, and probably that's gonna be the guy going into next year. But I will go find a way to, if Mike Jones is available on trade, I would do it. I would not see why the 49ers would trade him unless we gave him a lot. If that's the case, if he's not a free agent, but Mike Jones will be my preferred choice just because he was my preferred choice last year. I think he will work very well here. He proved himself with the 49ers. He was the one who gave that team a chance to be the number 1 overall seed. So that he proves his worth.
So if it is that he's not a free agent, you got to trade for him, you have to do the same thing with Anthony Richardson. I would make the trade for Mac Jones. If it's nothing too costly and you need a veteran guy who's familiar with the system that they're going to run and a guy who could be a bridge for the next 2 seasons, and he's young enough, and I would prefer Mac Jones over kind of the field here, minus the rookies, because you can still sign Mac Jones or trade for Mac Jones and still draft one of these guys maybe in the draft. And Anthony Richardson, I would say, I think I'm more on George's plane. Because Rob, Dolphins thirsty, same. I think he's against drafting or trading for Anthony Richardson back in the day. Richardson, for me, again, raw prospect. There's guys who were not great in college who ended up being great in the pros, and they just need a different place. He is raw. He's not the perfect candidate. But if you're talking about a guy, again, that's the problem, though. You need a guy who's a bridge. You have a project already in Miami with Quinn Ewers. You don't need 2 projects unless you believe that you can flip the switch and make him what he should be or what he has the potential to be.
And I'm here too.
That's right. So that's a problem. If you didn't have Quinn Ewers, you don't already have a project that you can say, oh, this is my project, and then here's my bridge, then I would say go do it. But the problem is that you already have Quinn, you can't afford a Richardson. And I wouldn't hate it. If they got Richardson tomorrow, I'd be, oh, let's ride. I'm excited about the potential, but I understand the hesitancy because I've heard it from fellow Gator fans as well. Kirk Cousins always connected with Miami. He's not going to be an expensive project. I think he's a reliable veteran. He's a great bridge quarterback. He's that guy. Another name that's not on here, a name that possibly could be an option for Miami, Joe Flacco. That's another name. He brought up Will Levis. That's another young quarterback. But Joe Flacco, a veteran guy who we've seen what he can do, what he's been able to do when he's come in short-term situations like what he did with Cleveland and then with Cincinnati. I mean, this is a guy who comes in, and I was like, this guy came off a couch, and he's still playing like this? I wouldn't mind Joe Flacco for a season. I mean, it reminds me of Gus Frerotte. I don't know if you remember Gus Frerotte back in the day, who came in for like 1 year. You remember Gus Frerotte?
He played very, very well.
He did. They did.
Well,
I was like this. Like, give me a Gus Frerotte type guy for 1 year. But out of the veteran guys that we got here, guys who are playing in the league right now, Mac Jones would be that guy. Mac Jones is the guy that I'd say, go get him sign him to a 2-year deal, trade for him. If he has 2 years, a year left on his deal, perfect. You got him, and then go get him. The rookies. Drew Allard. This is a guy who at one point, couple seasons back, maybe like, this is the number 1 pick. This is a top 5 quarterback. He struggled last year. You watch some of the film, you're like, where's the film? Well, you watch the film before that, you're like, I see it. Wow. You see last year's film, you're like, huh. But then you see Penn State and you see everything's going on. They got a lot of guys. Nick Singleton, the running back. This is another guy who was a top 5 guy. Penn State was all over the place. If Miami, if he's sitting there in the 3rd round and Miami got their corner or whomever in the first pick, whatever, and he's sitting there at the 3rd round, Drew Allard, that's great value. Go get him. Go get him. Even if you got Mac Jones, that you signed Mac Jones, go get Drew Alar. You're not married to him. It's saying, like, you think we keep talking about Will Levis, Malik Willis. People forget Tennessee. They drafted Malik Willis. Then it got Will Levis. Then it worked out. Then they got Cam Ward. We'll wait and see. Miami could do the same thing, which Sully has said. We'll draft quarterback every year, every other year until we hit one. If we hit another one, that's trade value. You could do this. You could get Drew Alar this year at the 3rd round, maybe if he's there. Next year, if it doesn't work, if he continues to throw, you go, okay, go ahead and pull and trade up and go get your number 1 guy if he's there. Taylon Green. This is a guy that a lot of people overlook, but this is another one that not only could, he's shown some flashes with throwing it, but he also could run it. He's very excited. Let me pull up his thing very quick. And his size. This is one thing. You look at Drew Alar. First of all, Drew Alar. This is the difference. Talk about the type of players Miami's trying to get. They want size. They want big. You were just saying, I don't want a small quarterback anymore. I get it. But Sully has said, we need guys who are going to be able to play in the cold. And that's just all the way around. Size everywhere. You look at the type of quarterbacks they've drafted, 6'3", 6'4", 6'2", whatever. They try to stay in that mold. So Drew Alar, 6'5", 238. Taylon Green, 6'6", 224. Fast. The pocket breaks down. Miami's offensive line is so great. Miami doesn't. Offensive line continues to struggle. This guy could escape the pocket. Same thing with Drew Alar, the mobility. Those are the type of quarterbacks that you see succeed in this league. Another one that's very intriguing and I have on here that, this is not some guy you're going, 4th round, 5th round, whatever. He maybe could go up the boards, but I don't see him going any higher, than whatever, 5th round, whatever. But there's somebody that maybe you could get and, see how he does in the preseason against a Quinn Ewers is Sawyer Robertson from Baylor. 6'4", 220. This guy's built. This guy's and he has an arm, but he's pretty good at being mobile. He could escape the pocket, make some big plays. So those are 3 guys that there's other guys we could look at, but I know people are like, what about, Pavia and this guy, but they're not in the same size. I'm talking about these are bigger type quarterbacks. These are type of rookies that you don't need to spend a 1st round pick on. Really, you don't want to spend a 1st round pick on a quarterback this year unless it's Fernando Mendoza, and Mendoza is going to be gone by the number 1 pick. So if you want to go ahead and settle for a 3rd round pick on Drew Alar, great. 4th round, maybe 3rd round, 4th round, 5th round on Green, awesome. 5, 6, 7 on Robinson, great. Those are 3 options possibly for Miami. So these are 3 names. Let me see. Bobby, happy some of your Tennessee got power back. Yes, thank you, Aladino. I was good, but a lot of others were days without power. There are some still without power, and it's crazy. The weather's kind of gone up a little bit. Still chilly. It still could get cold, especially if you don't have a heater. But I know some people that was like, it was like in the teens. It was a -2. No, actually, it was -12 wind chill at one point. And, I was talking to somebody, they were like, man, it's 40 degrees. It was 2 degrees outside, but the wind chill made it -12. And, they were struggling. And some people had to go to hotels. Some people had to stay, it was bad. They had warm shelters. I know Evan was in Canada. He went without power. And so shout out to all those who dealt with it and are still dealing with it. Myself, really, despite, trees and everything else, we got lucky. Trey Lance, not as a bridge. Trey Lance, you sign as a backup project, whatever. And again, we have a project in Quinn Ewers. Unless Sully watches this film and says, this is not my backup. This is not my bridge. This is not my project. I could get another project. But as of right now, it's Quinn Ewers. So I don't know if that would be the case. Where does Zach Wilson land in 2026? At Publix. I don't know. Maybe the Chargers. Maybe he's the backup.
Physical tools kind of similar to Herbert, so send to the Chargers.
There you go. Big Oats. Raphael says trade Tua, a 27 1st rounder, for the number 1 pick in 2026 to the Raiders. They get the number 1 pick for Mendoza. I do it. I mean, you're talking about Tua and a 1st round pick, next year's 1st round pick, and this year's 1st round pick for the number 1 pick. I do it. But will it be likely? No. But I'm a big Mendoza guy. Love Mendoza. Talking about the draft. Let's get into it. The 11th overall pick right now for the Miami Dolphins. There are so many directions Miami could go. And let me just say, we got on FTSN, we have the Fins Talk Draft Show, Josh Wingate, Coach Vogel. They're dealing with Wingate is in Delaware. He is inches upon inches of snow. He's frozen in. They lost power. Coach is dealing with it as well. I think Coach is somewhere in Carolina. I'm not sure. So we couldn't do the show so far this week. Hopefully we can do it sometime this week. If not, we'll go back into Monday night. The week after, we'll have a guest on, I believe. But since we didn't, I thought we'd talk about it here. So first off, these are just some of the names. There are other options Miami could go. We don't know where the draft is how it's gonna play out. Miami could trade down depending on who's fallen and what they can do. If you notice, there is no quarterback here in this, options here. And honestly, that's just my personal opinion right now. Things could change. If Trinidad Chambliss comes out and he has a killer pro day and Senior Bowl and flies up the boards, maybe, just maybe. If Ty Simpson has a killer pro day and Senior Bowl, maybe, just maybe you start putting their names out there. Right now, no. Other than Mendoza, there is no guy at 11 at quarterback that you should be looking at. None. Zero at this point. Again, things change. But there are other options. There are a lot of very good options for the Miami Dolphins at 11 if they can go here. First off, corner out of Tennessee, Jamad McCoy. The other one's Mansour Delane, the LSU corner. Those are two guys that would be awesome picks for the Miami Dolphins. You think about what Miami had at corner last year. You think about guys who are coming back. Russell Douglas, I would love to have back for the Miami Dolphins. But, you think of Kader Kohu, you think of guys like that. Some of those guys are going to come back, but Miami still needs a corner. I was even saying that last year, even with Jalen Ramsey. I was banging the table for the Texas corner. Losing my train of thought right now with his name, but I was banging the table. Jedi Barron. I was dying for Jedi Barron. Wish we would have got him. Probably would have felt better than our first round pick last year, even though it's only the first year. I'm not going to hate. I believe in the kid. And I think he's going to do great. But I really wanted Jedi Barron. We didn't get him. So Jamad McCoy, Mansour Delane, both very good great corners, would be awesome picks for the Miami Dolphins. Edge rushers. Why would we take an edge rusher? Well, Bradley Chubb more than likely is going to be gone, which sucks. I love Bradley Chubb, and I'm looking forward to talking more about him on the Fins TV Award Show because I will talk about him. I think I already gave you my picks, right? I did. I don't want to spoil it if I didn't. I did. Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, let's stop talking. I'll stop talking. Sorry about that. All right. So, but he may be gone. We already traded Jalen Phillips, and Chop struggled in his second year. Which happens. I'm not giving up on Chop yet. It's only a second year. Players struggle in their first couple seasons. Hopefully with Jeff Hafley and this new defensive staff, maybe we get the best out of them. But even if we did, you still need an edge rusher. David Bailey would be great out of Texas Tech. Ruben Bain, who's not on here because I don't think he'll be here. But if he is, oh my goodness, you go do it. Kendrick Folk is another name on there. I know Evan would hate to see that name on there because he was really passionate about Mel Kiper putting him as a draft pick for the Dolphins. So, but that is another edge rusher possibility at 4'11 for Miami. You think about offensive line. Austin Jackson might be a guy outside the door. He can't stay healthy. Bigger deal, might be traded, might be cut, whatever. So you think of Spencer Fanu out of Utah, Francis Mauigoa, who I would be excited if we got him at 11. Caleb Downs, the safety at Ohio State, everybody's favorite safety. But there's actually another guy. If you don't get Caleb Downs, there's another name, and I had it written down because I want to make sure, because I hate butchering, and I already have it here, but maybe make sure I don't pull it here. If you don't get Caleb Downs, don't worry, folks, because there's a guy called Dylan Theinman out of Oregon, 6'2", 207. I love this kid out of Oregon. He's a strong safety. He's a badass. He is all over the field. Swiss Army nice. I think he would be great with Minka Fitzpatrick if Fitzpatrick stays. Another two corners, too. If they don't go corner in number one, you got Julian Neal out of Arkansas. That's 6'2", 202. Remember Sean Smith back in the day, Sammy? Kind of reminds me of that in regards of size.
Long arms, yes.
Whatever. It's like perfect. And then you got Keontae Scott out of Miami, who was great in the playoffs. That's another guy who could just, hey, man, don't even have to pack your bags. You're already home. We got you. So there's a couple of options there for the Miami Dolphins. And then, of course, even though Zeke Biggers, Jordan Phillips, Kenneth Grant, right? who knows what this new coaching staff, front office think of these players. These aren't their guys. Like Sully said, don't take anything personal. This is for the best of the Miami Dolphins. Maybe one of these guys aren't the best for the Miami Dolphins. So because of where he could be in the draft and is the type of player he is, Peter Woods could be an option for the Miami Dolphins at 11. Crazy enough, he is wearing number 11. So, Sammy, you're looking at these possible options. Do you have any favorites as of right now? You have your hands on a lot, all over the Dolphins community. You're kind of like, you're like, hey, what are you thinking? What do you think? You're listening to everybody. You're supporting
hovering,
everybody.
yes, hovering.
You hover, what are your thoughts on these possible options for the Miami Dolphins at 11? And do you have a favorite, if not a favorite player, is there certain positions you would love Miami to target? Or are you like banging table, like trade down?
Usually, I don't care too much about mock drafts or everything before free agency, because once free agency hits, you usually have to throw it out the window. Two things: we're not gonna go deep into the free agent pool this year. I don't believe that we're gonna get a lot of talent in the free agent pool. That's one. And Hafley probably gonna go BPA, best player available. So you have to throw everything out the window too. You cannot say that because you had so and so is here. If better talent was up, that he's not gonna grab it. So it's very interesting. It's very different this year. I see a lot of people. I see the mock drafts that come through. People sharing stuff. I see a lot of McCoy, a lot of Delane, a lot of cornerback talk. And it would make sense because last year the secondary keep so depleted, so many injuries. Every single 2 weeks, someone went down with an injury in the secondary. That would make sense. I think the fan base is gonna get kind of get enamored by drafted with Caleb Downs just because safeties are in that range that they're not usually top 8, but more than 9 to 15. So that's the kind of talent that probably might be able to come and basically fall to the Dolphins. Interesting enough, I would not be shocked if this is a year the Dolphins finally trade down, because when you're in the 11th spot, sometimes you get lucky and sometimes teams make mistakes and a lot of talent falls into the 10th. But if it doesn't happen, you're basically stuck with basically a lot of players that in the middle tier of the bubble of talent. So trading back for, I don't know, from 11 to 18th or 21 and getting probably a second or a third and a fourth will make a lot of sense. So it's going to be very, very interesting. I do believe that the Dolphins need to work on the pass rush. I'm worried about Chop. Chop regressed so much last year. Regress. Bradley Chubb, unless he takes a pay cut again, and like he did last year with the bonuses and stuff. Remember those last week of the season we were on Chubb watch because of the bonus and stuff. If the defense was so he will get a bonus, and he hit a couple of those bonuses. But I would not be shocked if he's confident on his team, he bets on himself again, that he comes back on a bonus, an safety laden deal, but that's not for sure. I would not be shocked he's not here next year. So the pass rush has suffered. Jalen Phillips, Mr. Cassie. You know what Cassie means? That means it's enough, but not quite. He almost got to the pass rush, to the rusher, almost took the sack, but he never did. Just ask Justin Herbert. Like, he killed us that game because he could not make the sack. So the pass rush has been something that the Dolphins have failed and lack for last, I don't know, waiting for Jalen Phillips to develop and be to the player that we thought he could be, and Chop Robinson regressing. The pass rush is really neat. So either pass rush or cornerback will suffice for me, because I don't think this is the year we should go first round to the offensive line. Keep the pass work. Let's hope for another year. But the defense of Hafley, he has to establish what he knows, and he's gonna go defensive end or quarterback will make a lot of sense.
There you go. I love it. And again, Miami could go any options. I know, people, like, oh, well, let's follow what Green Bay does, which is great. It's a good formula, or good, to go back and kind of see what they've done. However, I do not believe it's going to be an exact replica of a Green Bay style defense or a Green Bay style draft. But you're right. I think people sleep on the edge rusher because they think of, what we already have, and Miami's done it already with Chop, and they,
Invested. Mm-hmm.
They've invested in it. but you can't have enough pass rushers. You can't get enough of pass rushers. And if David Bailey's sitting there, well, more than likely, I mean, if Ruben Bain is there, you run to the podium, you go get him, and you don't even think about it. And you go to, as soon as you're done, we're done for the night. Good night, hang up, close it up. You're good. You would get for day 2. In regards of offensive line, again, Spencer Fanu, great player. Could be a good pick for Miami. Francis Mauigoa, we've seen what he can do. We know he's a mauler. Again, Miami needs a right tackle. If Austin Jackson's gone, that would be a solid pick. But you're right. They could possibly say, hey, look, there are some options in the later rounds that Miami could do and plug and play. And who knows what type of draft picks Miami could get. If they decide to trade some players off and, it may make some options. So, but Caleb Downs, Delane, McCoy. Someone said, I thought that he did play last year. Let me go for a second. Corner.
While you look, I'm going to add a comment while you look. The offensive line, basically in every single team is weakened. The offensive line are scarce everything. So if you get a good pass rush, you're going to have an advantage of every single team. So in the AFC East, I'm going to say it again, I'm going to pound the table for the defensive end, just because those offensive lines in the AFC East are not the best either. You saw what happened to the Patriots a couple of weeks ago. I think it was last week against the Broncos. So, the pass rush, you had to get to the quarterback. So, but I'm sorry, you were looking. So I thought
no. I'm sorry. No, they're right. The film I have is only on 2024. But one thing I'll say again, injury is a big thing. However, talent is huge, and I know I'm with you on pass rush because you saw the example, and we saw it with the Dolphins this year. I mean, even with people are like, oh, we traded Jalen Phillips Watch, he's going to do great in Philly, they're going to win a Super Bowl, we're going to win. What did they do? Nothing. What did he do? Nothing. There was a whole lot of talk. He's a social media king. He's a great guy, by the way. Man,
I like him, but still, as a player, disappointing.
Yeah. So, how many times did we go make the sack, make the play? We know how important is the pass rush. So un poquito, as
casi.
My father-in-law says Vivito, he'd be like un poquito. So pass rush is huge. So, and there are some good pass rushers later too as well. There's some guys that you could grab and plug and play. But again, the guys who are like for sure thing, Ruben Bain is for sure. David Bailey could be a for sure guy. You plug and play right away. But when it comes to secondary, McCoy, the dude, he was a lot of fun to watch. Delane was a lot of fun to watch. And you think, man, imagine these guys in Miami secondary. Imagine Caleb Downs. Imagine Dylan Theinman out of Oregon. I mean, I hear a lot about Caleb Downs, and I get it. I love him. But people are sleeping on Dylan Theinman. I don't hear him enough. And this is a guy who could be a first-round pick later on. This is a guy, he reminds me of a guy like, he's, that we're like, you're like, oh, he's falling. And, I'd rather have Caleb Downs, and Caleb gets picked the top 10, which is great. But then there's time he's going, and then he ends up like on the Eagles, or he ends up on the Patriots, and he ends up like son
the
of
Ravens,
a,
or the Ravens.
It's like that's all. Like this is one of those guys that you're like, I really want him, and he goes somewhere else. And
yes.
But there's a lot of good options, and you're right though with pass rusher. But let's see here. I'm picturing Brooks and Styles, Sonny Styles. There you go. Pass rusher corner at 11. Adrian of the Rainy Day Podcast. Great to see Adrian in the house. Appreciate you. But yeah, it could be defense, man. But Eddie, it's not wrong. Again, it could be BPA, and BPA could be any of these guys. But BPA could also be maybe the running back. There's love out of Notre Dame, even though there are some decent running backs here. You'd be, wait a second, we drafted Ollie Gordon, and I love Ollie freaking Gordon. I believe in him. Obviously, I'm a big Devon Aitken guy, as you can see right there. There's his auto right there. I'm very excited about that. But what'd you say?
Sell it for 50,
Chissa says we could sell it for $50. If you wanted Devon Aitken auto, he'll sell it to you for
auction start at $50.
And you get if you guys want it, you pay $50. You pay it to the DCC. Use my DCC link. Pay it $50. And I'll ship it. And Trish says or more. He regrets saying $50. He says say or more.
No,
so
all
right, you start at 50.
Okay.
The bidding starts at 50.
The bidding starts at 50. But anyway. There you go. There's a Tristan Jr., Tristan Finstock.
Act now, and for over $200, you get Tristan PlayStation 5. So act now.
That-
The biggest star.
yeah, that's right. That's right.
Like that.
You go $200, you'll get HN plus Mark Clayton. I haven't punked that one up. I got a Mark Clayton one. So I got some things, but I'll be, of course, anything for the DCC, which we're doing that next month, which we're very excited. We'll be traveling down there, the family, and we'll be good to go down there. If you're wondering why I'm wearing this big ring, you don't think I'm bougie or something. I am. I don't give a shit. I won it. This was the Fins TV Pick'em League, and see if I could go ahead and show. It might be too bad. There you go.
That's nice. That's a nice ring.
It is a gorgeous.
I want
ring.
the side. I want to see the side. The side.
Well, it fits perfectly with me, brother. I mean, it says legend right there.
Oh, yeah.
And look at that crown king. Look at that. And
that's nice.
Yeah, that's very nice. And I will be wearing this during my shows, and that way people go, Bobby, you don't know what you're talking about. I go, really? I how many people joined? They asked me on the SoFlo Sports Show, was I 100 and what? I know it was over 100.
No. Remember, it wasn't such a big group just because of the fact that I tried to make it about collaborators of Fins TV, people who's worked with Fins TV, who've been guests or are part of the Fins TV family. That's why it's not open to the public. It's not huge. So over 30, less than 40. So somewhere in there.
First of all, next time, don't ever do that again. You know what I mean? Just say that it was over 140 people. Make me feel better. Like
no, but remember, it's 40 of the best.
Okay. All right. 40 still a lot. 40 still a lot. I mean, but
it's the cream of the crop. It's the cream of the crop. So
Oh,
let's not just sure, Bobby. Come on.
But it was a lot of fun. This year was a lot of fun. Last year was fun too, but this year is a lot more fun because I actually won the ring. And I will be wearing it all the time because I just go like anyway. When we do our pick'ems during the pregame next year, I'll be like, anyway.
Oh, everyone's gonna love that.
Oh yeah, you can't deny
that.
You can't deny it. But
he's gonna love that.
If you're just joining or you just don't know, Miami Dolphins add to their staff. They've added Nathaniel Hackett as their quarterback coach. Darren Bevel was our QB coach. We don't know what the case is, but we know even though he has a relationship with Coach Hafley, more than likely he is gone. But Nathaniel Hackett is your QB coach, former head coach with the Broncos. Was Russell Wilson his quarterback?
Where?
With Denver? Who is this quarterback in Denver?
Russell Wilson, yes.
Yes. Interesting.
Yes, Russell Wilson.
Wow, okay. Suspicious. Bobby Slowick, our offensive coordinator. Sean Duggan we project, will be the defensive coordinator for Miami. But Chris Tober is our special teams coach. Liddell Betts from the Giants is our running backs coach. Zach Yenser from Houston is our offensive line coach. Ryan Downer, defensive backs coach. Jamil Adai, our cornerback coach. And Al Washington, the linebackers coach for the Miami Dolphins, coming out of Notre Dame. So there's our coaching staff as of now.
Going back to that, Yenser is the one that kind of made me raise my eyebrow. Like, he was an assistant offensive line coach with the Texans, but it would make a lot of sense because Slowick knows him for the days in the Texans, so he probably knows who he has in there. So again, they're basically going to their guys, but that's the guy that basically made my, they really wanted the last time the Dolphins got an assistant coach, that line was from the Seahawks. I think the guy was still here bringing water to the other guys because they demoted him. They demoted him back to assistant offensive line coach. So I would prefer to have a proven offensive line coach because how many times we had so many years problems with the offensive line. So that's the one that made me kind of queasy. But if Slowick work with him, I'm gonna wait for to make it work. If not, we have to move on next year.
Is it true that a hologram of Sammy comes out of the ring? Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you just gotta rub it.
You take you have to take it off.
It's like a genie. You rub it. Yeah. Vamos! It's like,
yeah. I was gonna make a joke, but I'm not gonna. I'll tell
you later. Wrong show. No, it's like no.
Family friendly show, so
Well, I almost said it. I don't know. I almost said it on the SoFlo Sports Show, and I think Lou would have enjoyed it. But when I was watching Sully talk for the first time on Dolphins Twitter. I think it was with Travis Wingfield. I think it was him. Either way, it was from Dolphins, so it had to be. But anyway, when he was talking about the type of players he wants and playing in the cold, and you could get slow, but you can't get small. And I remember telling Tati, we were laying down, and I was like, man, that really tickles my pickle, And I remember she was on the phone. Also, she was like,
oh, really?
It does what? I said, huh? Say what? It tickles my pickle. I was like, it gets me excited. I was like, it jumps. And I was like,
it's like today, it tickles my pickle on the back.
There you go. There's the slogan. Not vamos, vamos. It's tickle my pickle,
Vamos, vamos, it tickles my pickle.
There you go. Vamos, it tickles my pickle.
That would be an interesting shirt.
And it would be a great shirt. I wonder how many people would go after it. But no, I'll just say again, in regards to Dolphins fans, I know a lot of us are, some of us more than others, cautiously optimistic. I know some are just like, I wish they would have got Harbaugh. Just sit back and really listen to what the coach says. And, when Rich Eisen, he's been on a couple stuff. I think one interview just came out today with Travis Ringfold, who was actually on the Fins Faithful pod last night. Was it last night?
Yes.
Maybe it was last night. So shout out to George and Jason Sarney for having Travis on. And I didn't get to see the show, but I'm sure it was amazing. Those guys are great. So make sure you guys go check out that interview. But Travis did have Coach Hafley on. And again, just another impressive, again, you listen to the guy talk, you're like, no wonder that other teams loved him, and, why he was so favored around the league and why the Dolphins were quick to pick him up. I mean, the guy could, probably could sell you, you're like, man, I really need a car. He'd probably sell you a bike. He'd probably prove to you a bike is better than a car. He's that damn good when he talks. So like,
he uses confidence, right? He starts speaking, he looks the part, like he belongs. He doesn't look like a rookie coach, he looks like a guy who's been there for a while.
He does. The way he talks, it's like, man, this guy, knows what he's talking about. And is that the case? We don't know. Again, I'm not gonna. I don't want nobody from a year from now or more than 2 seasons from now. Because if you're judging this after a year, then you're crazy. Unless they're totally like winless and they're horrible and it's garbage and But 2 seasons now. Aladino gay Bobby. What? Yes, tickle my pickle. It's like
hashtag tickle my pickle.
Hashtag. A dancing hologram. That's right. That's when I said it. I was looking at the ring and I was like, this really tickles my pickle. No, it was Sully when he said it.
I cannot say Sully, man. I had to say Sully, man. I don't know why. I just can't. Probably I don't know why, but I just can't say Sully. Maybe in a couple of years I will say, oh, Sully this and Sully that. But right now I still have to say Sully, and I don't know why.
Oh man, but I'll just say, be cautiously optimistic. But if you actually sit down and you listen to them and you see their interactions with each other and you listen to the vision of this football team, you're like, hey, you know what? Maybe, just maybe this was the move. But yeah, definitely get with the time, Sammy. It's Sully, bro. GM Sully. That's our GM.
No, hopefully in time, I never said like Chris. I was talking about Chris Greer. Chris? It was always Chris Greer.
We're not calling him John Eric.
Not even Greer. It was Chris Greer.
Chris Greer. Because Chris you go Greer. Like no one's saying, but it's Chris Greer.
So
Sullivan,
I kind of feel the same
Sully.
way,
I think you're overthinking it. I think you're pulling an Evan right now. I think that's what you're doing. Yeah. Here goes the wife right now. She didn't hear me say it, but I told you your head's getting too big.
She probably heard the tickle my pickle kind of. He probably heard the tickle my pickle kind of thing. I say like again.
What's up? Staring at me over. Just say Irish Sammy. If you call him John Eric, you're a psychopath. Yeah, that's right, John Eric. Anyway, John Eric. It's like, well, if his name was John Eric, like his last name John.
Who did he kill? John is like kind of the guy like who he killed, like a headline. Who did he kill? That kind of
Yeah. But it's Sully. Sully sounds good. Half it'd be like, that's one I was like, no, I call him Coach Hafley. But like, Sully, that's easy. That's like, oh, that's Sully. That's our GM. That's cool. That's your GM has a nickname. You're damn right.
Sully. If you call Sully, you better start winning, because if you're losing and you call Sully, you're gonna.
That's right. That's right. That's right. It's true. That's true. Don't like JES either. It's Sully. Yeah, I know. Didn't he say? Wasn't that? It was Sully and something else. He said there was two names. He said, "Okay, He goes, let's clear this up now. Either you call me Sully or call me something else." I think it was JES, but I'm not doing that. But anyway, we're about an hour in, guys. First off, thank you all for everybody who's tuned in. This is Finn's Talk Today here on FTSN, powered by FTSN and Finn's TV, sponsored by Caneswear. Caneswear should be live shortly, or should be live. Well, they're probably shortly. They're usually a little bit behind because they got to log in and do everything. You know, they're busy people, but they're going to be on. But yeah, look, if you're a Hurricanes fan, go check out the Caneswear podcast. It's about to come on live. They're going to talk about the transfer portal. Mansa joining the Miami Hurricanes as new quarterback. The schedule just came out. What are the last remaining transfer portal news? They got it all. The Gio and Brett and the crew there, they just kill it. Sammy, what's going on with Finn's TV? You got something big coming on, right? When's that happening?
Yeah, February 11th, February 10th, the Finn's TV Award. Working hard on that, you know. For the people who received the opportunity to vote on the panel, the last day to send their votes is tomorrow. So I had to remind Steve that Steve had not sent the vote. So he just sent it while we were talking. So tomorrow this is the last day to send in the votes for those who receive it. Now tabulate the votes, and I'm working already on the presentation for the nominees and that kind of thing. And hopefully we're going to have a good time on the Finn's TV Awards February 10th.
Let me ask you, because I'm familiar. I know that how many people complained about the options for the nominees. I know there was one, but how many? Was it just the one?
There's usually someone who says that, either they send the write-in vote or they say, can I send it and ask? Last year, Armando was one of the ones who says, I'm going to go write-in vote. I think it was for the kicker, if I'm not mistaken. He was the write-in for the kicker. But that happens every now and then, to the point that saying I'm going to boycott this vote because I agree with the nominees. There's only one person who's able to do that kind of thing. I'm not gonna name names, but you know who it is. So yeah, but that happens every single year. It's hard to pick that third one, right? When you have the category, you're only picking three. The first two usually you're very committed to, but this is the third one that's a debatable kind of thing. So on the third nominee, we can all disagree who should be this or that. So I had no problem with that, but unless you're the person who objects to the nominees, and then
it was fun. It was fun. I'm excited for it, to see who else picked what and whatever. But anyway, make sure you guys, mark your calendars. February 10th, Finn's TV, the Finn's TV Dolphins Awards, should be fun. Great crew there as well. Here on FTSN again. Finn's Talk today, Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern time. You got the Caneswear podcast coming on shortly here on FTSN as well. The content continues. No Holds Barred on Saturday with me and Josh Kimmel. Overtime should be live tomorrow, I believe. I'll double check with those guys. Monday night will be the Finn's Talk draft show. Hopefully everybody's warmed up and better and ready to go. We'll get that rolling. Again, SoFlo Sports Show with Lou and Ashley. If you guys haven't yet, once you're done here, hop on over there, hit that like and subscribe button. We've got over 325 people watching right now in all platforms. So wherever you are, and if you're anywhere other than YouTube, hop on over to YouTube, hit that subscribe button here, and go over to the SoFlo Sports Show, hit that subscribe button. There's no reason why they shouldn't be past 1,000. There's no reason why they shouldn't be past 5,000. They got great content and they're amazing people. They should be way up there. So make sure you go do that. Of course, the Rainy Day podcast as well.
Question, Bobby.
Yes, sir.
This week at the Royal Rumble, you have anything, for the Royal Rumble, because it's a weekend for us wrestling.
Well, I did bring yes. Again, No Holds Barred Wrestling Podcast live on FTSN, 5 p.m. Eastern time. We will be previewing the Royal Rumble. We'll be, of course, going match by match, talking about who we project to win. It should be exciting. Supposedly, there's a lot of surprises. We'll see if Triple H actually lives up to that. Paul Levesque, he says that a lot. It's gonna be a new era.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, bro. Let me ask you. I'm going to ask you though. Let's go to that because I'll bring it up on Saturday. Who's your favorite to win the men's Royal Rumble and the women's Royal Rumble?
I think I thought Gunter had the best chance to win the Rumble.
Yeah.
That will make a lot of sense. If not, Seth Rollins, if he comes back, he's being debated if he's gonna be able to come back or not. Those two might be my favorites. I would love for Chelsea Green to win the Rumble just because I love Chelsea Green. I don't know who's gonna win, but I will pop if Chelsea Green was the Royal Rumble. I just love Chelsea. She's unique, she's committed to the role. She, of course, she and Matt are so awesome as a couple. I always being a big fan of Matt Cardona because you may not know this, but I collect figures, wrestling figures. That's one of my hobbies. So I'm big into collecting. So I'm a huge fan of Matt Cardona, formerly Zack Ryder. So, but Chelsea winning the Rumble, that would hit my sweet spot. I would love that. I don't think she's gonna yet. Hopefully one day she will. But I would love for Chelsea to win the Royal Rumble.
Oh, dude, I'm a huge Chelsea mark. Yes. I'd be very excited if she won because it'd be so out of left field. But I do think she deserves it. I love watching. First off, right now, like you said, she's committed to the character. She said it before. They're like, man, aren't you ever embarrassed that they do this to you here? And
yes.
No, because that gives me TV time. Like, isn't it so refreshing to hear that? Other than people complain, oh, my spot, oh this, oh that. It's like. She gets it, and she's fun, and she's great. And people, oh, she can't wrestle. Yes, she can. Go watch Penta versus. Go watch Penta versus. Yes. Chelsea Green. There was a match there. I mean, she wasn't Chelsea Green. That was Lucha Underground. That was a great match. But I love that answer. I know a lot of people think that it's going to be Liv Morgan. I've seen that name pop up a lot. The women's one's a lot harder to pick. Men's, I'm with you. I think more likely I've been feeling like it's Gunther. But it may sway. I don't really think it's gonna be Braun Breaker. I don't feel that way at all.
No, I don't think it was.
That's right. Wait a second. No, it's not. Because Sami Zayn is gonna fight for the title at the Rumble. He's going against Drew McIntyre. Right? Yeah, because I thought it would be Sami Zayn as well. That was my alternate. Why are you talking?
I don't know.
Oh my goodness. Hey, AB conversation. See your way out. Anyway. He's like going like this in the background at me, like, "Hey, Dad, I'm Sami Zayn. Daddy, remember, like the guy, Dad,
yes,
Daddy." Oh man, but anyway, all right. So yes, Saturday. Thank you, Sammy. No Holds Barred Wrestling Podcast live, 5 p.m. Eastern Time with me and Josh Kimmel.
The Rumble is at 2 p.m. right?
Sorry, so we'll be a lot earlier. Never mind. I'm all over the place. I'm tired. Just forget it. We'll be live. So just hit the notifications bell. I better get in contact with Josh. Sammy, stop. He's killing me.
Sorry about that.
Wait. Don't you have a show on Saturday? I did. I mentioned it's 5 p.m. But wait, isn't the Rumble at 2 p.m.? Can't you just tell me that all the beginning so then it's all in my head? Like,
good night, everybody.
Yeah, good night. No. Anyway, appreciate everybody watching. Thank you so much. Like and subscribe. And most importantly, Dolphin fans, as always, fins up.